Your favorite fitness influencer that has 500,000 followers is making less than you think. He's posting, 3 times a day for fucking packing peanuts. I scaled my fitness coaching business to $70,000 per month while only having 30,000 followers. Meanwhile, there are coaches out there with 200,000 followers that are still fucking broke, and they're doing the one thing that I refuse to do. If I put a gun to your head, you'd figure out a way to make the fucking money. You'd figure out a way to make a sale. Question is, why just take a fucking gun to do it, first of all? But it's like, if the consequences are big enough, someone will do whatever it takes. You fail because people can fucking tell it's fake, right? A lot of you confuse education with tips. And education is not tips. Educational content not only educates, it entertains, it inspires. Most importantly, transforms. Would you rather have an audience of 100,000 fucking little infant babies, or would you rather have an audience of 1,000 followers that are ready to buy a home in the Chicagoland area and they are 4 years old? I would rather have the 1,000 followers. Most coaches are stuck at 5K per month because they're copying the same shit everyone else is doing. And I'm gonna show you that everything you know about scaling a fitness coaching business is backwards. I scaled my fitness coaching business to $70,000 per month while only having 30,000 followers. Meanwhile, there are coaches out there with 200,000 followers that are still fucking broke. And they're doing the one thing that I refuse to do. And that was compromise on my values and positioning. In the next 30 to 45 minutes, I will show you the only right way to build up your fitness coaching business. And these are the exact methods and strategies that I have used to help hundreds of fucking coaches scale. Whether they were at, 2K per month and wanted to increase their reach to get to fucking 10, or if they were at 30, wanting to get to 50, these strategies work. And I know you've probably tried and watched other coaches blow up that are less qualified than you. You've tried fucking, making videos, answering comments, posting daily, but it's not working. And you're not crazy. It's just, you don't have the right guidance. And that's why by the end of this video, you will learn how to build positioning that makes you the obvious choice out of all the other coaches, how to create a content engine that generates you qualified leads overnight, how to pre-qualify your prospects before fucking wasting an hour on a goddamn phone call, and how to have sales conversations that actually feel natural. Listen, I've worked as an in-person trainer making $30 a session, getting nickel and dimed at a fucking local LA Fitness. I can tell you, it's unsustainable, and the path to success requires being someone's fucking bitch for a decade. And you might be thinking, that there's no hope for you, that you're just not special enough, but I wanna tell you that's bullshit. And it's bullshit because I've done it and I've helped many others do it. I kid you not, I remember going into LA Fitness and the corporate managers would be hyping all the trainers up, setting new KPIs for the month and talking about how there was a possibility of us eventually seeing a fucking 100K a year. And it was like we were constantly chasing this fucking carrot that I knew would never fucking happen. 100K a year? Really? So if I'm making $30 a fucking session, how the hell am I ever gonna make 100K a year? When the top trainers are only making $50 a session, how the fuck are they ever gonna make 100K a year? The answer was true. They're fucking not. It's never happening. And that was when I decided to pull the trigger and really start focusing on my online fitness coaching business. Because I wanna tell you what's happening right now. The online fitness coaching market, it's fucking exploding, okay? Poor fitness is a problem that will always be around. And even with the rise of these new GLP-1 drugs, there will always be a marketing angle that a person can take, right? Whether it's, I'm the coach that helps people or GLP-1 patients maintain their muscle and not lose muscle on these drugs. And to those who say it's too oversaturated, yeah, you're not wrong. It's oversaturated with bad coaches. People on the internet spewing fucking nonsense, your functional training gurus, your Paul Saladinos, but it's not with people like you, okay? People that genuinely wanna have a positive impact. But the problem is that 95% of you good coaches are stuck running yourselves into the ground, and you're following these outdated strategies from 2010 to 2019 where you could fucking make a simple text ad about postpartum moms and sign 12 fucking clients. And as someone who has scaled a fitness coaching business all the way up to collecting $70,000 in a single month with just fitness coaching, not dropping a single fucking penny on advertising and only having around 30,000 followers, and helping creators like, Jacob Foods, who has amassed over 150,000 followers, generate 5-figure months, creators like fucking Garrett double his revenue in just a month's work, trainers like Josh make enough income to actually be able to leave in-person work behind and go all in on online coaching. Even smaller creators like Sam with under 500 followers make a little over $7,000 in a fucking week, all with no ads. And that's why I can confidently say that the typical route of just, shooting the shit, wasting a bunch of money on ads, or trying to niche down in a fucking market that you don't understand doesn't work. And if you're still thinking, oh, these are all just outliers, then I want you to know that an 18-year-old kid is out there making more money than you in your 40s because he got himself out there. Ali's 18 years old and collected fucking 10K in cash in 2 months since working with us. Now, my intent here, I want to be clear, it's not to sell you. I don't need your fucking money. It's to show you what's possible because I was there. I grinded my fucking ass off for 4 years before I ever made $1,000 in a single month from my online fitness coaching. You didn't think I fucking struggled to see the light at the end of the tunnel? You didn't think I didn't lose sight of the end objective? Right? The thing is, it's fucking out there though. You have to reach for it. And these aren't just coincidences. They're quite literally a fucking formula to this. And I'm gonna show you exactly how it works. But first, I wanna actually explain to you why online coaching is the future and why I believe in it. As somebody who's done both. And with in-person, there are a few limitations that you are just fucking capped by. The first one being time. The only form of compensation you receive is based on how many sessions you do, which is only so scalable. You can't scale that to 100K in a fucking month, unless you have like a team of people working under you and all that jazz. But then you have overhead, right? You need a location. And often if you're an in-person trainer, you need to pay a steep fucking rent or suffer the consequences of having a huge percentage cut taken out of your fucking sale. Whereas with online, there is extremely minimal overhead. You can get a couple fucking things of software and run your business for $0 a month. I mean, the typical software costs less than $100 to run a fitness coaching business. So it's really fucking nothing at all. You can work from anywhere on the globe. And at the time of filming this, I was in Paris just last week doing client check-ins at a coffee shop at 6 a.m. And that's why you get more freedom. You actually have the ability to travel, to do things, to experience life for the fullest because we only have one fucking life. And I don't want to spend it. I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend it working and making someone else more money, lining someone else's pockets when I can be doing that for myself and getting my clients better results doing so. And additionally, you also get to choose who you get to work with. You get more freedom with your client roster. And that makes for a far more enjoyable experience because you're able to control the traffic. You can control with your marketing who comes through the door, who comes through the funnel, who comes to your page. It's all about knowing how to position yourself correctly. And with online, you're able to actually give clients the support that they need around the clock, not just for one session out of a week. And you can do all the stuff as in person, but you can do more. And you also get more freedom doing it that way. And I hear so many people tell me when I was starting my online fitness coaching business, all the fucking boomers, right? Oh, I'd never pay someone online to do a fitness coaching. I just go to the gym and get a trainer. Well, sorry, Stacy, but not everyone wants to do it that way. Additionally, when I was a trainer working at LA Fitness, the quality of service that I saw there was fucking terrible. Half of these trainers were on their goddamn phone just scrolling mid-session. But the fact is, there's no reason not to do online coaching if you are a fitness coach. Because with online, you can sell a program for $2 to $8 grand for typically 3 months to a year. Whereas in person, you're charging per session. And the best thing about doing it that way, the transformation way, is clients are actually more committed to themselves because it's structured as a fucking program, a commitment, rather than just one-off sessions. And you can do all the things that you could do in person, but better. You can do more tech support. You can do video calls. You can do form breakdowns with different software, and you're able to actually, still develop that relationship with all of your clients. And to the doubters that think you can't get good client results doing online coaching, and here, I'll just give you testimonial. I can do them testimonial all day. I'll just do them right now. Just fucking throw them up on the screen. Testimonial. This is fucking all of them. I don't even know. Just put them up there. All the text, the combos, everything. Like, look at that. Boom. That's what's possible with online fitness coaching. So long as you give a damn. Now, if you don't, just leave the video right now. If you're a shit coach, there's no saving you. If you don't care about your clients, just leave. But if you do, then in this video, okay, I will show you the exact strategies that I've used to scale my fitness coaching business. And you might be thinking, well, JP, what's in it for you? Why are you giving all this shit out for free? When you could charge for it. And I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you why. It's because I want to see all these fake mentors fail and burn to the ground. That's my mission. I'm not exactly altruistic, I'll be honest. Okay, I'm not altruistic. No, I want to see these mentors that charge you 10 grand for some shitty fucking course fail and burn to the ground. These Discord communities of mentors that don't give you any one-on-one support that you can't even get a fucking onboarding call with. That hell, half the time don't even host their own calls. So that's what I want to see happen. So by doing this, I'm damaging their business. And I like to break shit. So with that said, let's dive in and take some notes. Section 1, okay? I want to talk about why most coaches stay stuck. And let me start with a quote that I've heard that really sticks out to me. It's, knowledge of knowledge creates the capacity for change. And the reason that sticks out to me is that the core premise is, when someone understands their situation enough, when someone understands their rationale for why they're stuck, they can really start to develop a game plan in a sense of what they need to fucking change, right? If you don't understand your situation, when you don't understand your problem thoroughly enough, then you don't have the opportunity to make a change in themselves or your business. And in this video, I'll teach you about 4 base problems that most coaches have. So the first one being poor positioning, AKA, trying to niche down in a niche that doesn't make any fucking sense to you and you have no understanding of it, or just not having any understanding of your positioning online at all. There's so many people that say, oh, I help busy professionals, I help soccer moms, I help busy dads. When you're not a fucking dad, you're not a busy professional, you're not a soccer mom, and you have no understanding of who these people actually are. So stop doing that. Quite literally, nobody wants to hear about that because number one, you have no credibility whatsoever. So when you start talking about, how you help a specific niche, when you don't relate to these people, when you have no familiarity with these prospects, you fail. And you fail because people can fucking tell it's fake. Right? You're not actually telling things from the heart. You're not speaking from the heart because these aren't real experiences that have happened to you. You don't understand the pain points of your audience. And so the coaches who are making big bucks have crystal clear positioning and have a pretty clear stance on things. And I will go into how you can actually do that for yourself later on in the video. But then we have problem number 2, which is having piss poor marketing and content. Most people think content is posting a couple workout videos and carousels and shirtless post on Instagram and talking about what you ate for fucking breakfast. And then they question why they're getting 0 leads from it. And because the reality is, what drives leads is content that impacts, content that creates potential for change, not some stupid randomly thrown together crap of a video. And this strategy is what's known as the top of funnel, okay? The viral, the middle of funnel, the nurture content, and the bottom of funnel strategy, which, I'll elaborate on later on in this video. Problem number 3 you'll run into is your sales process just being shit. The fact is, if I gave a lot of you 30 or so leads right now, you would only close 10% of them. Okay, you wouldn't even fucking close 40% of them. And that's because you hop on a call, wing it, explain your offer, and then they hit you with the think about it or I need to talk to my spouse, and you have no idea what to do going forward. And I also want to clarify the reason why a lot of you don't understand what to do moving forward is because that's how you make decisions. You think about it. You need to talk to your spouse. You use these objections. So what happens is when you hear these objections and you fucking have the same ones, you think it's rational. So the best way to overcome any objection is to actually overcome your own fucking objections. So that way, when someone hits you with some bullshit, you have a good angle and an understanding of why it's a flawed theory. For example, if someone wants to know the price first, a lot of you will just give them the price first, but you don't actually understand why that's flawed. Because you do the same shit. You often want to know the price first, but you need to know the flaw of making decisions only on price. It's like if I'm selling fucking solar and I call you up and I go, how much is my solar, dude? And you go, yeah, I got to know the square foot. No, fuck you, man. How much is my solar? How much is it, dude? Well, I got to know the square footage of your house. Nope. How much is it? It does nothing. That is not productive at all because you are kind of having you're talking to a wall here. He can't give you the fucking price because he doesn't know what you're struggling with. He doesn't even know if he can help you yet. And you're asking for the price. So that's kind of the fatal flaw that I see a lot of fitness coaches make, is in order to overcome other people's objections, you need to overcome your own first. So that's what I want you to work on initially. But after you get an objection, let's say you fucking flop it, you follow up maybe once or twice, and then they ghost you and then you move on. And I want to be clear that is not a strategy, okay? That is called fucking around and finding out. And right now, what you're finding out is that there's a lot more to this than just hard work, okay? The coach is doing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $80,000 a month. The coach is hitting that consistently. They know they can't just fucking outwork it. That's not how it works. There is a level of skill and process that you need to have dialed in, because once you have a skill and a level of process built out, that's when you can really start hitting the ground and closing at 40+%. And the fourth common problem that I see is that people's processes and systems they suck. They quite literally suck. They're doing everything manually. They're doing every DM, every sales call, every client onboarding, every workout. And they quickly realize that they become the the bottleneck in their own business. And here's the thing that no one tells you is that you can't scale yourself because you're limited by the fucking number of hours in the day. Okay, the coaches making a lot of money from fitness coaching have teams. They have had a mentor. They have a team behind them. They have a virtual assistant. They have a team of coaches. They have help. If you want to be great, you can't do it all alone. And as coaches and entrepreneurs, we owe it to ourselves to recognize that sometimes we just might not know everything. And sometimes the strategies that we're using, the strategies that we've been using might not just work themselves out. So it requires you humbling yourself and becoming a student before you can reach the top. So those are the 4 core issues keeping you stuck. But just like any problem, there is a solution. And I want to tackle the first piece right now: content strategy and positioning. Now, this is where a lot of people will go wrong, and it's because they desperately try to be somebody that they're not. So first things first, what I want you to do is make a mission statement. How are you going to represent your brand? What do you want your brand to represent, first of all? What do you want people to associate with you? What associations do you want them to make with you? How do you portray yourself online? How do you communicate and convey your core convictions, right? How do you take this viewer through a journey? What is if I watched your content for 90 days, 180 days, a year, what would you want the main takeaway to be? What transformation would you want that person to undergo? What's something that you believe in wholeheartedly, a core conviction that other people may disagree with you on? Who's your enemy? AKA, like, who are you kind of fighting against? The industry, deceptive coaches, restrictive diets. What are you fighting against? You need to create that element of contrast. Every good story has a hero and a villain, has a protagonist and an antagonist. You need to do that for your brand. Something about positioning in marketing expertise that I revisit frequently is the brand Liquid Death. Now, if you look at them, they are the perfect example of excellent marketing and positioning. Now, what they did is essentially take the water industry, which, yeah, fucking hell, you can make money selling water, right? You can make money selling fitness coaching if you can make money selling fucking water. So what Liquid Death did is they took something as simple as water and they repackaged it into a specific niche, a niche. And what they marketed toward is like the metal, the fucking skull. They had all this, daring branding on it. And that positioned themselves as a key differentiator in the marketplace. As you had all these brands with the flowers and the mountains and the pretty shit. Liquid Death says, fuck you, motherfucker. Here's my brand. Liquid Death. Okay. And at first you'd think that is a horrible positioning. It literally it sounds like fucking poison. Why would I want to drink water that says Liquid Death? Well, that's the whole fucking point. Okay. When you see it on the shelf, you go, what the hell is that? It stirs controversy. Immediately in your mind, you're making guesses as to what this product might be. Simply being on the shelf for them, having shelf space, is their marketing. And now, going into 2026, they own pretty good percent of the market share for water bottles. And now Liquid Death in 2024 got a $1 billion valuation. And that's because they stuck to who they were. They had a core conviction and they fucking communicated it. And that's the exact conversation that I had with Robbie, a fitness coach who works with firefighters in specific to help them kind of lose weight, gain control of their life, get healthy again, all that jazz. Now, when we first started working together, we had a 2-hour conversation, literally about this. And what we uncovered was the fire industry's perspectives about health and wellness were just completely warped, right? They were toxic and keeping people sick and ill. And people thought that, oh yeah, you just gotta put a Band-Aid on. Oh, just walk it off, brother. Oh, it doesn't matter if you're fucking 40 and you're fat and overweight. Oh, it's what firefighters do, whatever. And I continued probing. What was his mission? What did he genuinely want to accomplish? Why that? We got super clear on what he wanted to communicate and how we should communicate that, because if you're going to market anything, then you need to have clear positioning. So I want you to go out and find yours. And what was Robbie's? Well, Robbie wanted to see a fucking difference. He wanted to have an impact. He wanted to make a change. Within a decade, he communicated that he wanted to see the fire industry have a different perspective on health and fitness, that he wanted to help people overcome these damaging, toxic narratives. And that's what he did. One of Robbie's top videos is about him just sharing his core conviction, him just expressing his frustration with the industry, relating to other firefighters that were expressing a similar frustration. And so with this core conviction, then I want you to create a 3-layer content strategy, all right? You have top of funnel. These videos, I want you to think fishing net, catching as many fish as possible. These videos serve to get eyeballs. You are casting that fishing net out into the ocean and reeling it in. This might be, your perspective in general. your life, vlogging, reaction videos. It doesn't even have to be very, very fitness coach specific. Not everyone wants to hear about, I'm a fitness coach, We don't always have to fucking sell people. The goal with this is getting people into your funnel, starting wide, posting shit that you generally resonate with, and then later funneling people down into the bottom sections. Now, I want to be clear, you are a fitness coach, so your content should revolve around fitness, okay? You should be posting value, but a lot of people just don't know what the fuck value is. And that leads me into the middle of funnel approach. And these videos are specifically designed to nurture your audience and build trust. Examples might include, educational content. And I say that very, very, very carefully because a lot of you confuse education with tips. And education is not tips, okay? Education is not 3 quick tips for fat loss. It's not fucking the sagittal plane. No, it is actually changing someone's perspective on things. It's having an impact, okay? It's backing these facts with a story. That is what good education content does. Educational content not only educates, it entertains and inspires. That's what it does. And it, most importantly, transforms. That's where value is found. And those videos are considered nurture content. So this could be a video of me doing a reaction and giving my perspective and my value on things and explaining what I do with my clients. Now, to be clear, this could also be top of funnel, okay? So you can make this and format this in a way that is top of funnel. A reaction video can most certainly be top of funnel, right? It's just how specific, how niche we want to dive into it. How you can gauge whether something is a top of funnel or middle of funnel video is think about, is this really building a lot of trust in my audience? If it is, it's middle of funnel, because the middle of funnel, think fishing rod. We're reeling people in. We are more specific with this. We have a specific kind of bait we're using. There's maybe more strategy to hone in people on this niche and give value to them. Okay, it's the fishing rod, not the fishing net. And then lastly, you have the bottom of funnel. Well, these videos are designed to convert those viewers that were already previously nurtured in the funnel. And we do that by giving out lead magnets as call to actions, as doing call to actions in general. And I'll explain what a call to action is. A call to action is just a thing that you say at the end of the video that tells a person what the logical next step to take is. Now, a call to action doesn't always have to be a fucking buy my coaching or lead magnet. A call to action could quite literally be the payoff of the video, because the payoff could be telling the viewer what the next step to take is in their fitness journey or in the gym. Don't do this in the gym, whatever the payoff is. That could be a CTA as well. But with bottom of funnel videos, you always want to make sure your CTA is an incentive for that viewer to reach out to you for coaching. So at this point in the funnel, right, the viewer already trusts you, you're likable, okay? And they trust you enough because they've seen enough middle of funnel content and knows that you can solve their problems and they will want to work with you. But the question is how do we do our bottom of funnel content without seeing super salesy or scummy? The first thing you can do, and the thing I like most, is using lead magnets as call to actions. Now, what is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is a free resource that you give to your prospects, your clients, your potential clients, to get them incentivized to reach out to you in the DMs. And I'll give you an example. So I made a nutrition guide when I was first starting out in the online fitness coaching space. I say first starting, I mean first gaining traction, because realistically, I was doing this for a long time without this knowledge. What I did was I released this to my Instagram with only like 200 followers or 300 followers, and I made a little over 5K in a month. And I was able to do this because with my followers who did follow me, I just messaged them this free resource. Whenever someone followed me, I'd ask them, "Hey dude, thanks for the follow. Did you pick up my free training guide yet?" No, okay, let me send it over to you. Let me know what you think. That's what I was doing. And I gave so much value away, so much information away to my prospects that they trusted me and wanted to work with me because they saw I knew what I was talking about. Okay? A lead magnet solves a problem and it creates a bigger one, because it's called like the problem hierarchy. You know, if you want a girlfriend, you get the girlfriend, then you have girlfriend problems, and you get a wife, then you have wife problems, and then you're sleeping on the couch. It's like you keep evolving on the problem scale, right? So there's always a problem to be solved. So I don't want you to fear giving value away. By giving value away, you're just unlocking a more complicated problem that you could probably charge more for. Another example would be testimonials and case studies, right? So a client case study would be how you achieved, a 30-pound fat loss with this client in 3 months. What steps did you take? Okay. What this client said about the program, and then a call to action to sign up. Expect lower likes and views with this stuff, okay? But that isn't the point of the video. The point of the video is to convert clients. I always tell my clients, don't get so obsessed in vanity metrics, because would you rather have, let's say you're a real estate agent in the fucking land of Chicago, right? You're selling homes. Would you rather have an audience of, let's say, 100,000 fucking little infant babies? Or would you rather have an audience of 1,000 followers that are ready to buy a home in the Chicagoland area and they are 40 years old? I would rather have the 1,000 followers, okay? I don't know about you, but I mean, I'd rather have the people of my fucking niche that can buy my service and that would actually benefit from it. So that's not the point of bottom of funnel content. And you could also do, story posts too for bottom of funnel content. That would mean polls, right? Getting your audience to interact with you and engage with you. Questions, right? The little question thing, like the Q&A stuff. That would mean talking about your service on the story, giving the behind the scenes of it. What are you doing in your life? What are your workouts, right? Like, how are you helping your clients? What's your client check-in process? What results are you getting? What transformations are you getting? These are all things that I want you guys posting on your stories because that's what's gonna bring in the most clients. Your stories are gonna conversion the shit out of people as long as you make them interesting, and they can be a great conversion engine for you. Now, the question that I think you're asking me is like, okay, what content do I make? Well, the first thing you need to consider is like what content actually resonates with you. And you need to also consider your audience. And that also means choosing formats that you think they would enjoy. Okay, we wanna do things that we enjoy, but we also need to give people a reason to watch you. And if you're boring and have no personality, then get one. And number two, you probably need to rely on other formats than talking head. Okay, so the talking head videos are something that we would film. It's just a video of me, let's say holding my phone, talking, ranting to the camera about something. Maybe I'll throw a visual or a green screen there, but some of you might not be able to do those videos because let's just say you're fucking boring and don't know how to talk. So you truly need to adapt this process to you, which is why with all my clients, I tell them like, that's what we do. Like it's not just an all-in-one fit, because if it's an all-in-one fit, then everyone's posting the same shit and there's no reason to work with you. But I will go over some like banging video styles that typically do very well. The first one is the green screen reaction, which is like repurposing other people's content. And it works well because the other videos literally are your hooks. If you find a video with over 100,000 likes and it did well, and it's about a topic that's relevant to you, and you stitch it, your video is likely to do well because that other video did well, right? There's a reason why every video does well. It's because it follows a formula, okay? And it meets a demand. So people demanded that video, chances of the demand again, it'll do well again, and your video will be the one stitching it. Boom, that's the gist. Green screens can be done in a variety of formats, okay? You have people that do them like this, where they're looking at something on the side there and it's edited. You have a video of you doing this. You can find which one you're most comfortable with. It doesn't matter that much, but the video you choose matters, okay? Number two, okay, is storytelling. Now you can do these with a mix of authority and discovery. It is a spectrum, okay? You're never gonna be all the way on one side. Discovery, I mean like the content that's designed to get more people out there and watch your page and like connect with you. Authority meaning like expert content, like I'm the expert. So authority would be more middle funnel, discovery more top. But we wanna see the journey that you're on, okay? Like the personal struggles, the behind the scenes, right? Showing personality. That's what we wanna see. And that's what your viewers wanna see, is they wanna see you. They wanna see your story, your background, what makes you qualified to do this kind of stuff. That's what your audience and prospects are going to build trust with you from. So that's a huge thing, is storytelling. Going in your niche and figuring out, okay, what like controversial experiences have you had that you might be able to share with other people? What are the like the unanimous experiences? And I'll give you an example. It's like a good top of funnel format, for example, could skit would be, let's say I'm targeting the pain point of skinny guys, right? I want to make a video targeting the pain point of skinny guys. Maybe I'll post a reel of me, doing the dual like talking head thing where I have like someone off screen, like, oh my God, like the female voice, right? And I have the male me on screen, former skinny guy, of the girl like putting her wrist, her fingers on my wrist and talking about how dainty and cute it is. And I use that like universal experience that every, skinny guy has had to reach an audience that understands that pain point. And it also speaks to their pain point. And what they do is they go, that's funny as shit that this guy gets me. And then they see a video of you maybe, doing more authority content. They're like, oh shit, okay, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. And they see a couple testimonials. It's like, wow, this guy can help me, right? So that's the thing, is like we want to talk about our personal struggles, and we can do that in a variety of formats. And lastly, education. Now I say this with caution because I want you to not sound like a fucking robot. You need to use the right languaging that your audience can understand and connect with. Okay, there's a lot you can do wrong with this stuff, because a lot of you guys think value means spewing as much jargon as fucking possible, and you confuse tips and commands as actual value. Do this, not that, and this, because with value there are three different types. That is not value. Okay, you have educational value, which is actually teaching people things. You have entertainment value, right? How fucking entertaining it is. And then you have inspirational value. Now with these three, the more of each that you can give to your audience, the more likely that video is going to succeed. So I always talk about maximizing value a lot. I talk about maximizing the amount of value a client can get from a video. That is exactly how. Content that combines all three of these strategies will win every single fucking time. I will bet on it every single time. And on top of that, when making a piece of content, you should ask yourself 3 questions. What the goal of the video is, what's the goal or purpose of the objective, okay? What does this convey to the audience about my brand? 3, how will this ultimately at one point or another get people into or farther down my funnel? And you need to critically think about this process on a weekly basis. In your diary, you should probably pick one day for filming content, another day for pure idea generation and market research, where you look at your competitors, you see what they're posting, you look at their formats, and you kind of study that a little bit and you get insights as to what you can do. And then from there, you just write out scripts and you just film them and edit them and you batch them throughout the week. That's the most effective way to do it for people that are busy like myself. And I wanna be clear too, when you're writing your scripts, don't write essays, okay? Keep it brief, keep it simple. I want bullet points, all right? I want cues, I want et cetera. I want what you can enunciate. I want you to actually critically think about the impact that the video will have on the audience, and you can start batching it. And the videos I'll batch first are probably the coaching content, and then you could do like your lifestyle content daily, because the coaching content takes more thought and more critical thought as to how you're gonna target the audience and really like speak to their pain points. So what you should do is write down the 6 elements of any good video. The hook, right? The first 3 to 5 seconds. It could be visual, it could be spoken, and it can also be the video, like what's going on in the video, the scene. You have three types of hooks, and all of those make a good hook. So you combine all 3. Then you have proof, right? Why should I listen to you? A lot of you try to give value without actually establishing any proof. You got to think about it like this. When I watch a video like some popular coach like Jeff Nippert, or these big ballers like TNF, they are the proof. Like they are living, breathing proof, because they have a lot of followers and they have a lot of credibility. You don't have that. Most likely, you don't have that. So how are you going to establish yourself as a credible person? And why should I listen to you? Because immediately the alarm bells are going off. That's number 2. The third is value, right? What is the actual genuine value that someone is getting from this video? Okay, like what is the value, the entertainment, the education, and the inspiration? 4 is your stakes. Stakes is why it matters. The best analogy I can give for stakes is, have you ever seen a fucking Mr. Beast video where he's like blowing up Lamborghinis and shit? That's stakes. It's like, oh my God, what's gonna happen when he blows up this Lamborghini? It motivates people to keep watching. It's the consequences of not watching. And in the viewer's mind, if the stakes are high, if there's a consequence of not watching and they need the value, they'll watch. Then it's the payoff. The payoff has to be worth it, because here's what will happen. If you bait people and you give them a worse payoff, the next time they see you on their page, they will associate you with that shitty payoff and they will not want to watch the video. So they will scroll. It hurts your brand long term. Then some sort of CTA. Now, CTA doesn't mean buy my coaching. It doesn't mean follow me. It doesn't mean whatever. CTA can be funny, right? Like share this with that one fuck ass friend that's always cheating on their diet, or share this with the friend that's always skipping fucking legs, right? Something like that. And a CTA could also just be the next logical step in terms of the value that you want them to take and implement, right? Like what are they doing from a training standpoint at the end of this video, right? The CTA could very well be the payoff. Those two can blend in very well. Now, having the formula doesn't do shit though if it goes unchecked. So you need to audit your process. So to audit your process, what you should do is take a spreadsheet and organize the best performing videos, and this is what I do with my mentees, by the likes, views, whatever. And I need you to write down the objective, the angle, whether it was like an objection video, whether it was whatever, what the angle was, that you were trying to communicate, and the format. And what you'll do is you'll try to get an unbiased understanding of your page, because business decisions aren't emotional. We need to make business decisions based on logic. And we need to best understand the type of content that leads are going to see on our page. What is the journey of this lead? What are they going down? Okay, how are messages being conveyed? How are they being communicated? How are potential objections being handled before they even hop on a call with you? How is it being handled by your content? This is where a lot of people go wrong and they don't think about this stuff. And from this, I want you to remember one thing overall, is that the goal with content is to inspire change. So tips aren't going to cut it. Okay, they did in 2012, but now people want to feel changed. If you can have an impact, your followers will actually start to turn into long-term client relationships where you can coach them and really have a good relationship with them. Now that we have a decent understanding of content and we have a decent stream of leads flowing in, then begs the question of like, how do we actually convert these leads into clients? Which leads me to problem numero 3, okay? The shitty sales process. How do we get someone from content to DM to call? Okay, CTAs in your content will get inbound DMs. So first I'll cover outbound though, and then I'll cover your inbound, because outbound DMs are a lot harder to do than inbound. Okay, inbound, you have to think they're already warm because they reached out to you. Outbound, you're reaching out to this person on a fucking whim. It's a little bit harder. So I'll explain to you how you can become an absolute fucking assassin. Okay, so what you need is a couple systems. You need Google, you need Zoom or Google Meet. Okay, you need Google Calendar, and you need some sort of CRM tracker. For some of my bigger guys, GHL. For you smaller fuckers out there, for you smaller minnows, Google Sheets is fine. Don't over obsess about the systems. Okay, that's not actually productive. You can think you're being productive by planning and figuring out how you're gonna do it and this and that, but you're not actually being productive because you're not choosing the highest leverage activity to do, which is send the fucking DM, damn it. And this leads me to my first point, which is a lot of you are arrogant because you think that people are gonna reach out to you all the time. You know how fucking entitled that sounds? Oh yeah, people are just gonna reach out to me. No, people need a reason to reach out to you. And also number two is that people often need to be spoken to and communicated to in order to even recognize that they have a problem. So how do we DM without being a fucking nuisance, right? It's step one, drop the, hey man, are you following for the videos or do you have XYZ? Are you trying to get in shape? Right, like that's what everyone's doing now. And that sounds like everyone else. So I don't like it. When you sound like everyone else, you don't stand out. So in the DMs, I want you to focus on actually connecting with your prospects and audience. Because unless you have a lot of leads in the pipeline, you are not gonna fucking just get people on calls. The problem is most people lead with authority only, which ends up accruing a lot of sales resistance because people immediately understand and think they're being sold to when you come in their DMs like, do you have any specific fitness goal in mind? Like, holy fuck, bro. Like that's the first thing you're starting out with, really? Okay, the opener should say something about them. What's it in specific about their page that you found that you needed to talk to them about, okay? Like the fucking blue red Ford F-150 in their profile picture. I don't know. Okay, some shit like that. Because why should you do that? It doesn't sound like a robot. It's actually personal enough, okay? You need to do that manually. Yes, do it manually, okay? Then your next goal is getting the tangibles in past experience. What is a tangible? A tangible is purely something that they want that they don't have. So the tangible could be a overarching goal or problem that they're dealing with, all right? That's what we're trying to figure out, their intent. Then we need past experience, and we use past experience to confirm the tangible. Okay, so we use past experience to confirm that they are currently experiencing this problem or they currently don't have this goal of theirs. Then after we do that, we're gonna walk them through logical certainty, which is a stage where we just want the prospect to understand the situation they've put themselves into that's led to this problem, okay? That's it. And this isn't my fucking formula, okay? Yes, I've learned sales from other people. So this is a mix of concepts from, NPQ to the impact formula to all of these things, okay? But that's kind of what we do in logical. In logical, we are getting the situation and in problem awareness to actually understand their situation and to have them understand their own situation. Because often when you speak to a prospect, they won't understand they have a problem. So it's your job to get them problem aware through your content, the stuff you send them, the DMs, all that stuff. And then also in that conversation, you're also gonna, try to pre-qualify somewhere, whether it's a financial question, something like that. If you don't have a lot of leads, you need less friction. So there's something that we call friction in sales, and you can add friction if you have a lot of leads. Let's say you have too many leads on your calendar and you need to reduce it. Let's add the qualification. Let's increase how much we qualify. Qualify very difficult. Let's add more qualifiers. Let's qualify harder. Now, if we don't have a lot of leads on the calendar, you shouldn't be asking about people's money. Okay, you need to shut the fuck up. Book in some calls. Okay, stop qualifying. Book in some calls, all right? But if you have an influx of leads on your calendar, that's when you can really qualify hard. Qualification questions don't have to be direct. They are best asked indirectly, like age, country, job, all that kind of stuff, but you just to phrase it in a good way to actually justify why you want that information. Then you do a status frame of the call. And what do I mean by status frame? It's not, oh, hey man, let's hop on a call and I'll tell you about my coaching. It's mutual exploration, okay? And we frame it like this. Let's do this, man. What we can do is book in a call where we talk a little bit more about where you're at now with X, kind of where you want to be, and really, really try to understand and see what this gap is. And I guess if we think like it could be a good fit and I can help you, then we can talk about the possibility of getting you equipped with some more advanced training. Does that sound good? Something like that. You see how I phrased it as like mutual understanding, and you see how it's phrased as theoretical? By framing it theoretical and using language like possibly, like see where you're at, understand that gap, that kind of stuff, it's phrased as theoretical. It means that you're gonna get less flat out no's and less people blocking you. Because what most coaches and salespeople say is, yeah, I know I can help you, dude. I know exactly, like, I have the thing. When really we don't, dude. Like, we don't really know if we can help them. I mean, we don't know if what their medical complications are, whatever. So we need a little bit more context first before we know that we are actually the right fit. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Now, as far as how to book in your prospects, use Calendly, but don't book prospects more than 3 days out. The reason why is because there's a significant drop off after 48 hours of booking in terms of no-shows, because they lose that urgency. Even if you have a good follow-up sequence, you have good like automations of text and good copy, it's still very risky. And I would just do 48 hours max. What you'll do is you'll run something called a post-call booking confirmation sequence, which is just a series of texts or emails that you send to people, possibly with some resources to give them a little bit more context prior to hopping on a call with you. Now, for resources, give them one resource, not 18. Okay, don't make it a chore. The resource should be short, like 5 minutes or so, not very long, because we want it to be, we want to reduce resistance. But I mean, you can use a longer resource if you have that kind of credibility and aura, like a client interview, like whatever. If you are getting a lot of leads coming in, you can definitely use a longer resource. But for those of you without a lot of leads, shorter resources work best because we need people on our calendar. Now, the best resources provide a lot of value, but they also make the prospect more aware of your solution and more aware of their problem. So they solve a problem, but they also create another. And by creating another, I just mean advancing their skill set to the point where they now need even more advanced shit. And that's where you come in on your call. So what you're gonna do is after they book, right, before they book, you're gonna send them this. Hey, it's JP. I figured I'd reach out and give you my number before our call, just in case you had any questions come up. Reason why is because people are more likely to respond to message. So if they have something come up or something, they're more likely to actually be active in their messages app than fucking Instagram DMs, okay? Now, if you have a lot of leads, you might want to automate this, but if you're starting out with a small amount of followers, do it manually. Stop obsessing about systems. You don't need systems, you need clients. Okay, buddy? Come on. And by systems, I want to be clear, I mean the actual software, the tech. Okay, I don't mean like the strategy and like the personal systems. But what you do is email confirmation. You can do that automated via Calendly or GHL, whatever you use, and you do that with a post booking with the link to the call and maybe some resources. And then with my text, I will typically do something like, the morning of the call, 2 hours before, 30 minutes before, and then 5 minutes before the call. And you might think, JP, is that excessive? No, not really. Because morning of, it's like, hey, dude, just confirmed. We're locked in for blank time today. Looking forward to chatting. Then 2 hours, right? 2 hours before, hey, dude, just wanted to make sure you got my last text, or just want to make sure we're still on. Cool. 30 minutes, be on in 30. 5 minutes before, be on soon, bro. That's it. That's what you do, okay? Now, after that, when they show up, I want you to forget anything and everything that you think you know about sales. Because the way that Sam was able to make $7K in under a fucking week with under 500 followers wasn't by having some extravagant fucking pitch. It was by learning how to have a conversation that actually leads to a conversion without sounding super salesy. And if you master the above stuff that we just talked about, then that will help immensely with the sale, okay? So on the call, you got a couple of goals, which would be, you're trying to confirm it's a good fit. You're trying to understand their situation deeply and get the prospect to understand their situation or problem. You're trying to figure out then how does your coaching help them? And then you're also trying to figure out how to guide them to the right choice. That's the goal of your call. So the first stage, whatever you want to call it, intent, discovery, whatever, it's where we ask connecting questions with our prospect to literally just connect. You don't need to chat about life for 13 minutes, okay? In sales, there's productive, there's unproductive, and there's good information. With productive information, that is information that actually moves you toward the sale. Unproductive doesn't move you toward the sale at all. And good is information that is good, but it doesn't really help us because we don't need it right now, okay? So the purpose of discovery is get the focus off of you and onto the prospect. We want people to talk about themselves and we want to learn about their problems. The second is you need tangibles and past experience, which I explained earlier. The second stage then is logical certainty, which is understanding what's happened to them to get to this point, what's actually gotten them here. And then in the emotional part of the call, what you're doing is you're figuring out like what's actually prevented them up to this point from taking action. So like we're doing a little bit of like problem awareness as well. And what happens if they do, right? Future pacing, what happens if they do, and what happens if they don't change. Because in order for someone to change, they have to understand the consequences of not taking action. And it's like this. If I put a gun to your head, you'd figure out a way to make the fucking money. You'd figure out a way to make a sale. The question is, why does it take a fucking gun to do it, first of all? But it's like, if the consequences are big enough, someone will do whatever it takes. So we need someone to envision vividly what their life looks like when they lose the weight and what happens when they don't. When that happens when they stay fat for the next 3, 6, 12, 18 months and they don't lose the weight and they experience XYZ issue again. Like what happens then? What genuinely happens on a more personal level? And then once you understand the consequences of not taking action, you can transition to your pitch. Your pitch should be 5 minutes tops, okay? Don't present the whole program. Present the part that actually solves their problem. Now, the next thing you're gonna do is handle objections. I don't want you to fucking judge your prospects because what they have is a belief. And it just so happens that that belief has led them to exactly where they're at today. And I guarantee you all have similar beliefs. You just don't want to admit it. And that's why objection handling is always, always, always internal. Okay, it's always an internal thing. Because they have a belief, they've attributed a meaning to it, and then they have a story behind that as to why they can't do it and they can't be successful, and it's how they make decisions and whatever. Because people are always just trying to do the best thing for them in that moment. And at this point, if someone gives you an objection, it's simply because they think that they're making the right decision and they don't believe that proceeding with the program is right for them right now. However, it's our responsibility to get them to see through the way they limit themselves and get this person to make the best decision. And if you're a good coach, you should think it's going with your program, because chances are they're not going to do it themselves because they've just tried and tried and tried and failed. Whenever you get I need to think about it, whenever you need to get a spousal, whenever you need to get a money, right? Whenever you get a time, it's just people doing what they think is best for themselves. And we can't really blame them for doing that, can we? And then after that, you just close them and onboard them, all right? And your onboarding should be quick. It should be efficient because after the first 24 hours, 48 hours of the sale is the most important fucking time you need to be on your feet. Do not wait 72 hours to give them their program. You will fucking get a charge back or someone complaining, whatever, because they get hesitant. And I have had no disputes. None. 0 disputes in my business. 0. No successful disputes have gone through. Whenever I've had someone dispute, and I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I did have one. It was for, my business coaching, and it was a misunderstanding between a friend. It was a personal matter that just so happened to leak into business. But we sorted it out, him and I in person, right? Face to face, we talked about it. We had a civil conversation, and he went ahead and removed the dispute. And we sorted it out like human beings. So that's why you should listen to me, because my dispute rate is 0. Never had one, okay? And that's why you need to understand that onboarding the client quickly and efficiently is very important. I'll talk about that in the free calls in the community and stuff like that. But that's my perspective on sales is, yes, you should know your script, right? But you should also know your process by heart. You should feel like yourself on sales calls. You shouldn't feel like you need to act like someone else. You shouldn't feel like you need to act like me. And this is what we work with our mentees on most, is their ability to sell with conviction, being themselves, because everyone has a different personality and none are wrong. And excuse me if I'm getting tired. I got off fucking about 12 hours of client calls planning for 2026 this year. So that's just a little bit of context if I'm fucking feeling a little more tired than usual here. But I'm stick with me, okay? We're almost done. So that's my perspective on sales, right? We should know our script, but you should also know your process, okay? You should feel like yourself on your sales calls. You shouldn't feel like someone else. You shouldn't feel like you need to be me, because that is how you sell, okay? Everyone has different languaging that they want to use on a sales call and whatnot, and that's fine. But the overall process of sales is the same across the board when we look at like top salesmen nowadays. Like the Wolf of Wall Street shit that used to work back in the day doesn't work now because people are aware of the high pressure sales tactics. It doesn't work. We need to empathize with our prospects. Back in the day when they were fucking doing this shit, it was new, so we didn't really understand that. Now people aren't as gullible. So we need to, and I'm not saying that the goal of your sales should be to confuse or manipulate the prospect. The goal is to give people enough information and context, okay, to make the best decision for themselves and to see through the way they limit themselves by their limiting beliefs and see through those and truly start to build something of value in themselves. That's the fucking key. It's changing their mindset and perspective. It's getting the prospect to focus on something different and truly make a commitment to themselves. And that's my perspective on sales. You should feel like yourself on a sales call, okay? You should know your script, but you should also have a process that's yours. And I don't want you to fucking reinvent the wheel here because it's too early to do that. You're just now learning the frameworks, but eventually the goal here is you've designed your own sales process that you genuinely feel is yours and you feel like it's your own. And, whether that's being more assertive or being a little bit more calm and collected, or whether you want to be the A-type guy that really calls people out, it depends on you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's whatever works and closes the most deals and gets people the best results. Because a lot of you don't understand, and I talk with coaches like this who have really high dispute rates, and this is what I always look at is I look at their sales calls. I look at how they're speaking to clients. I look at, one, are they making promises that they can't keep to make the sale? Are they overhyping the program? I don't bullshit when I'm on my sales calls. I don't bullshit. I'm gonna be like, dude, yes, it's gonna be hard work. I'll be right here with you, but I'm not gonna have you fucking expect this to be some easy goddamn gig, right? No, because I'm not bullshitting. Like I could easily sit here and tell you, oh, you can start making fitness coaching. Fuck that, right? If you think it's gonna be easy, keep your fucking money. I don't want it. I want people who are fucking hard workers, who are willing to put in the fucking time, energy, and effort to build something. Because if someone thinks it's easy and they start messaging me like, oh my God, I have to do this, dude, I'm gonna tell them, fuck off. I'm giving you your money back. I don't even wanna work with them. I'm genuinely serious. I don't even wanna work with that person. So I always look at their fucking sales calls, because half the time you guys are overhyping your program and overpromising and under-delivering because you're greedy and desperate for the sale. And that's stupid. It's dumb. It's an abundance mindset. There will be more that come in. If someone doesn't want to do it and you've taken them through your objection handling framework, leave them be. Okay, they're making the best decision for themselves at the moment. At least that's what they think, and that's fine. But don't overpromise and underdeliver. It's stupid. I actually heard someone say that, by the way. I had someone say that. A mentee of mine that was working with a previous mentor said, you should almost try to underdeliver on your clients so you can big more sales. I was like, are you fucking serious? That is ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous, ludicrous statement. Granted, his business doesn't exist anymore, which is a good thing, which will happen to a lot of these course sellers, but I'm going off on a tangent here. Let me get focused back on what we were talking about. But yeah, that's kind of what I do with my mentees, right? Is we need to know, how to sell in a way that's ours, and also convince people that they have the ability to make the change. I wouldn't even say convince. I'd say get people to understand and arrive at the conclusion that they are capable of change and they are capable of achieving these great things. Because they are. Everyone has the ability. It's not a matter of ability. Unless you're fucking like limbless, then I guess you're a little more lacking of ability. But it's your self-belief. It's your ability to, when your back is up against the wall, how much fucking uncertainty are you willing to tolerate, right? How much uncertainty are you willing to tolerate? Well, how many low revenue months are you willing to tolerate in order to have a high revenue month? Are you willing to take a step back so you can scale your business and lose a little bit of revenue now for a higher amount of revenue in the future? My mentees are so successful, and I'll tell you this, it's because they've practiced the skill and they've honed it in. And we've also taught them, okay, how to sell in a way that's congruent in who they are. That's it. So, after the sale though, you have a ton of things you need to do, which is actually deliver on that, right? How do we deliver an effective service online where, we're able to get some fucking shut-eye at night and we're not tweaking, thinking our clients don't like us? Okay, how do we deal with that? How do we scale this puppy up to 50 something odd clients and not get bottlenecked? How do we do that? How do we go about like getting an executive assistant on board? How do we do all of these things? So there's a lot to building a business, but with these initial steps, you can sign your first 5 clients with relative ease compared to, how difficult it is to, really scale this up. So I think that these are kind of the initial steps that I wanted to communicate in this video, was the importance of positioning your brand, right? Like genuinely positioning it from a core conviction piece, the content and marketing, okay, of your brand, like how do we actually market it, the top, middle, and bottom of funnel strategies, the sales strategies, like what we do on the sales call to be prepared, right? How do we actually sell to people in a way where we feel like ourselves? And then the importance of overall systems, like, your Calendly, your fucking whatever, and you can set that up relatively easily. It's very easy to do. And, having the overall systems in place to really, really scale this puppy up. But, as we all know, there's a gap between knowing what to do and actually fucking doing it and consistently doing it at a level that breeds results. Because I will guarantee you will all face uncertainty. You will all hit roadblocks. You will all have doubts and fears and struggles and issues delegating, and you'll second guess yourself and often, fucking pivot out of fear and waste time implementing things that aren't necessarily correct. And I know that because I've been there. And I know that some of you have bought courses and have never even fully implemented them. And I want to be clear that that is on you. It always is. But it's also because implementation without guidance or feedback is going to read shit results. Now, if you think it makes sense at this point, and if you want results similar to these, I don't fucking know. I mean, throw them up, right? Boom, boom, testimonial, 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 testimonial. Fuck it, right? Flash them by. I don't give a fuck. Nothing to hide. Then you can click the link in the description of this video and book in a free business audit call with a person from my team to see, what issues you might be dealing with and if we can even fucking help you. I want to be clear. There's no risk here. It's free. And if we can't help you, then at least we figured that out, right? It's 15 minutes. You can go ahead and book it in. And at worst, then you get some free fucking context about, maybe the struggles that you're dealing with in the business, and you can get an outside perspective. But yeah, go ahead and click the link and we can book one of those in.